Hello, everyone. Welcome to a completely unfocused and random chat video with me and my guest, Daisuke Beppu. How's it going, man?
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. It's always nice to be able to talk with you.
Yeah, it's been a while, and
Yeah.
I reached out to maybe do something. We didn't have any ideas specifically as far as some grand collaboration, but just sit down and catch up and talk about some films.
And you say, how long has it been since we've had this type of? I mean, we've talked offline, of course, but this
Yeah,
type of format discussion. It's been what? How long? You mentioned it earlier.
a couple of years. Yeah, 2020.
That's a long time. It does, as we said, it doesn't feel that long, but
It doesn't,
but
no. I think it
yeah.
was the only
Wow.
yesterday video that we did, which it's interesting because those videos get ridiculous views. Um, yeah, 100,000 views on that one.
A hundred
Uh,
thousand views. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and the Kiki one has 274,000 views.
Wow.
I occasionally get
Wow.
these angry comments asking where's the movie?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's just it's a discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I occasionally get those as well. So yeah. Yeah. So you just say, "Oh, it's not here, but thanks for stopping by." Yeah. So
You get a comment like, too much talking. It's like this is YouTube.
yeah,
That's what YouTube is.
yeah, yeah,
How are things going with your
yeah.
channel? I haven't had time to catch up because you post so many videos, but it's great to see you're still very prolific and getting
Oh,
stuff
thank you
out
so
there.
much. Yeah,
Very
it's
impressive.
oh no, not at all, not at all. But thank you very much. But it's totally not all. It's just sitting in the corner of a room, just talking. That's all. That's all it is. So, but thank you very much for that. And yeah, it's going. I'm very excited about a number of things happening in terms of planned projects.
Okay.
But it's like with a number of things, just it's just a matter of getting things sort of situated and so as to be able to get them off the ground. So I'm actually moving. At the time we're recording this discussion, I'm still in my old place, but I'm actually the family and I are moving to a different location. It's only about 10 or 15 minutes from our current location, but
Okay.
it's a little bit more spacious. There's a little bit more
Ah,
space. So I'm actually now, it's off the camera here, but I have some boxes that are now beginning to get filled with various items of the DVD and Blu-ray variety. So it's now the idea of getting things packed and moving the collection as well as other things as well as of my life, like the first thing I think of when I'm moving is my how am I going to move my Blu-rays. That's the first thing clothes and
yeah.
whatever, that comes second. First thing is the Blu-rays. How do I move this, the laserdisc, what's going,
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah, so that's the immediate task at hand for me in the next few weeks, I think. So
And I'm assuming
but
that's the primary reason for moving. It's just more room for the collection.
oh yes, of course. So just in fact, we had my wife and I had a little talk over the dinner table last night. We were looking at the layout of the new place, and it has a number of rooms. It's pretty small, but it's kind of an average size, I suppose. It's for a family of four living in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But so we were discussing it, and we were looking at the layout of the new place. I was trying to negotiate with her about what room I could have for this, and so I think I'm almost there. But she's very understanding when it comes to that. But as I say, I don't want to. I need to have hopefully just a little bit of space, not to take up too much space, because I don't want to take up the what do you call it, the common space area. So but just having a little corner of the room or the house, so I could have these shelves of like John Carpenter movies, or I don't know, Mario Bava films or something like that. So we'll see. So I think I've negotiated a little corner of the house. So we shall see. I'm looking forward to it though. So and I'm very fortunate. She's very understanding. My wife is when it comes to that sort of thing. So just as long as it doesn't go all the way throughout the entire house, that's fine. So and I said, okay, that's fine.
There.
Exactly. So I'm said, okay, no, not a problem, not a problem. Right. So
yeah, I have experience with moving a movie collection, and it's not fun. Like when I first started Blu-ray collecting, I lived here in Wales, where I'm from, and then I moved to Norway. And I didn't bring my collection. I brought many discs in wallets, but I wasn't going to bring the whole collection with me to another country. Lived in Norway for 5 years and then built up a whole other collection. So then when we moved back to the UK, I had to pack all that up. And then we moved to London. And then I moved all my collection to London. And then we realized that London was a bad idea. So then we had to move the whole collection back again. And it's just like, it's not fun.
Oh, I see. When you say the whole collection, you mean the totally integrated collection of the initial collection of Wales and then the collection of Norway. That became one huge thing. You moved to London and you moved back. Oh, wow. An epic journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
an epic journey.
Running out of space at this. I mean, I have a pretty big room here, but it's just, yeah. So anyway, but I feel you on the moving the collection. It's not an easy take because then you got to reorganize everything, you know. And for me, it was like bubble wrapping certain thing. Well, with you're not moving that far, but with me, it was like across the country, so I'd have to like bubble wrap specific items, and it's just yeah.
And not just that too, but also your move from Norway back to Wales initially, as you said, right? So that's not just traversing long distances, but also national borders as well. So yeah, international transit. Yeah, that's very impressive indeed. Yeah. I wonder how did you manage that? Was it without free? It was free of incident, I suppose. The move back from Norway to Wales with the collection that you gathered.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth. Really, we hired a good company to do it. But it just sprung to mind then because when we initially moved to Norway, we had a horrible incident with our cat, where like the truck that was transporting her to the plane in London crashed, and it's like, well, and so Connie flew to Oslo, which is her first stop. Got there and they're like, your cat's not here, and she was like distraught. Everything was fine in the end, but it was this big dramatic thing where it's a pretty hairy situation, but otherwise no.
So there was the incident with the cat, but as you say, ultimately everything was okay. But despite that, or given that, there were other matters of the moving that were relatively free of incident. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a hassle, isn't it? Really, when you got to like clear everything up and then like clean the apartment and all that, and then you got to move it into storage while you find the new place. So it's not just you got to pack it into storage, pack it out of storage, pack it back. It's just never ending. So I'm glad that we're in a solid base now for a while. It's I don't miss it.
So and then you are have you seen anything exciting recently?
No, so I've been really busy recently with a lot of things. Some YouTube stuff I'm trying to catch up on. I'm trying to get this documentary rolling that I'm making.
I saw that. That's great.
So I think this is the longest I've gone without watching a film in my adult life. It's been about a month and a half and I've just watched nothing. But I have been watching a lot of TV, which is unlike me. But there's just been a lot of like very good quality stuff that both me and Connie have been enjoying. So that's kind of taken up all my viewing time. Really, is TV. And,
so I think I saw. What is it? Is it, for example, the Kenobi series?
Yep, watch that.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I know of it, but I don't know the details of the episodes. But I think that's one of the series that maybe you're speaking about now, I'm assuming.
Yeah, watched Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new Stranger Things we watched. Better Call Saul has started its final season. So I watched the first 7 episodes of that aired, and then I've gone back and watched the other 5 seasons. So I've been like obsessively rewatching that. So yeah, so I have been watching stuff. It's just, and it's almost like, I don't know, I feel guilty because I have all these movies around me. I've just been untouched for over a month. But you know,
Is it what is it about the TV shows or the TV or these series that you think makes them things that you've been watching lately rather than? I mean, I don't see necessarily any difference in terms of, say, running time. I mean, when you're talking about huge investments in these rather multi-episode series, as an example. But is there something else, perhaps, that maybe you think is the reason why you're drawn to a series lately rather than films, or is it just maybe nothing, no specific reason?
It's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit no in terms of the running time, because me and Connie, our schedules are so at the moment that we only have like a couple of hours each evening. And so
Sure.
it's, do we spend the whole 2 hours wall to wall watching a film, then good night, or do we watch an hour of TV and then have an hour to chat or do whatever we want to do? So that's been convenient. But also I think just timing, like with the final season of Better Call Saul coming out, now I want to go back and watch that, the first 5 seasons again. Or Kenobi, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and it's like it's of the moment, Stranger Things, big fan of that. I want to see it before I get spoiled, which is kind of the culture these days, the streaming stuff, where you got to get in there quick, otherwise people are going to be talking about it online and then you get spoiled. And so it's a number of things. But
hello there. Sorry, that was my terrible. I guess I don't know if it's Ewan McGregor out those, but anyway, yes.
Yeah,
I guess it's Ewan McGregor. Yeah.
So it's almost as good as he did. That's my one of my criticisms of the show, is that his accent is all over the place. I don't know what.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He's at times he sounds like someone trying to do a Ewan McGregor. At times, oh, wow. I think he's trying to bridge the gap to Alec Guinness, and so it feels different. It's not bad. It's just a bit wonky. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I guess it. Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'll try to catch up with it then. I'm not so good with the. I guess I'm the opposite at the moment. I'm not so good with the series watching.
Yeah.
Just for no reason in particular, but I'm always hearing about, oh, this is the hot show of the moment, or this is the one that people are talking about here, but. So it's not like I mean, I want to see them very much. I'm very excited, but it's just a matter of getting around to them, I suppose.
It's tricky. I mean, there is the to me, there's a big appeal to movies because it's like you one and done. You sit down, you watch it, beginning, middle, and end. There's an appeal to that. And there's an appeal to watching a longer story in TV as well. But I've always gravitated towards, okay, do I watch a season of TV or 5 movies? And for me, it's always 5 movies. But just lately, it's just been the timing of everything. I've kind of been sucked down that hole, I guess. So, yeah.
Sure. But as you say too, it's also a way for you and Connie to spend the time together. As you say, it's everything's right. Maybe the time is a little bit limited at the moment, perhaps, as you say. So it's good to have this opportunity to spend the time together in this way. So yeah, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But what was that? You said it was a month and a half or so since you last. So what was that last film? What was that? What were those last films that you saw? Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you, but I, with Letterboxd, I can just pull it up instantly and tell you exactly what I last saw. Let's see. Water Lilies was the last film I watched, which is a Celine Sciamma film. And
what were some of the other films that you saw, or do you remember seeing?
Night on Earth, Jim Jarmusch, Night on Earth. Have you seen that one?
Yes, not lately, but yes.
What a film. And actually, I'll say this is one of the reasons I really enjoyed doing YouTube. I was having a really, really bad night, and I was like, another adventure I have in my collection. I was like, right, I don't want to watch a comedy. I don't watch anything that's trying to make me laugh. I don't want to watch anything like sad or dreary. I want a film that takes place at night and it's kind of just a chilled out thing. And then I just thought, oh, Night on Earth, that film that's apparently about just cab drivers. So I picked it out of the collection, I put it on, and it was just the perfect antidote to my down night, you know, and I
Yeah.
just was drawn into the film, and I thought that was great. Some of it maybe not so much, a bit uneven, but I enjoyed it for the most part. Then I reviewed it, and as I was talking about it, I started to realize just how brilliant it really is. And by the end of the review, I thought I love this film. So it's sometimes verbalizing your thoughts while doing a review can kind of change your. For me, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. And with that film, I loved it even more once I talked about it.
So it was your first time seeing Night on Earth?
Yeah.
First oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What? That's really cool. What it was. How about Jarmusch works in general?
It's very. I've only seen that and Patterson and The Dead Don't Die. So two of his more recent films. I have a box set with Mystery Train, his earlier films, Down by Law, I think. A few, and I forgot Dead Man, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few I've got left to see that I own. So it's yeah.
Oh, it's great. Yes. I don't ever ask me to do my really terrible Tom Waits impersonation. It's terrible, and but maybe when I turn off this Zoom, when I'm by myself in the room, I'll just do a little yeah. So you have me wanting to listen to my Tom Waits records now. So thank you so much. Thank you.
I think it was one of your James Bond streams where I think maybe it's just, I don't know, there was some stream that you did and I managed to get you in the comments to do your Macho Man Randy Savage impression.
Oh yeah,
which was fantastic.
Yeah. It was a good opportunity to recall those lovely memories of right at the time it was World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
So the wonderful days. Yes, those are days where Dusty Rhodes was still in the ring, and sensational Queen Sherry, when Macho Man was Macho King, and they had the fight with the rival with the Ultimate Warrior, and gosh, wow. Okay, yeah, don't get me. Yeah, I should stop myself. Yes. Jake the Snake Roberts and right. Oh gosh, never mind. So I interrupt you. So you had Night on Earth, which is great, and you said you spoke about it on your channel.
Yeah.
And you said as you're talking, you realized how much you really enjoyed it. So that's what were some of the other films that you saw, or that you last saw prior to this gap here?
The things that I've watched recently, it doesn't feel like recently to me, it's been so long ago, but they all have videos on my channel. But I watched Shiva Baby. No, is it Shiva or I forget? Shiva. It's the Jewish. I forget the pronunciation. That's going to bug me. Regardless, very good film. Have you seen it?
No, yeah. I've heard just a little bit, but nothing more.
Yeah, so it's about this this young girl who goes to this Shiva, and her sugar daddy is present. So she has this side thing where she's seeing this guy on a regular basis. He's giving her money, and she sees, and it's like, have you seen Uncut Gems? Because that's out in the Criterion Collection now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So people compare this to Uncut Gems in terms of like just tension nonstop, because it's all in this house. It's quite a short film as well, and it's just all about is she going to get found out that this is what she's doing, and it's a very tense, very funny kind of a kind of dark comedy. So that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. And then I've been waiting to see this for a long time. It's the movie Demon Slayer.
Huh. Yeah.
Mugen Train. So nice addition. But I had been intrigued because it broke all those records in Japan, and it's like, what's this movie? But I didn't want to just watch the movie, so I wanted to watch the series first. So I watched the first season, and then finally got to watch the movie, which was pretty great. Like the one thing I didn't like was the all that kind of slime that goes along the train. It looked a bit cheap, the effect, compared to the rest of the film, which the animation is just incredibly beautiful. And I feel like the slime stuff was it felt a bit low rent. but otherwise it's a very thrilling film. I love films that set on trains. That was another big appeal to me to check it out. I don't know why. So yeah, like compared to the series, I thought it was a really strong. Have you seen season 2 of the show?
So I've seen everything that has been.
Okay.
My family and I have seen everything that has been made, I think so.
Because from what I understand, the second season is the movie in the first like 6 or 7 episodes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether there's anything new there, or it is literally just cutting up the movie into episodic segments. So I haven't got to season 2 yet, but I'm intrigued to see more for sure. But it's quite the phenomenon
fantastic.
over there, isn't it, Demon Slayer? It's
Oh, you mean yes,
in general.
It's in general, yes, it's quite popular. It's one of those things where I would say that it has crossed over into type of mainstream consciousness, such that you can find references to characters, and it's kind of like its own pop cultural phenomenon type of thing. So so the people who haven't necessarily seen the series or know the story necessarily know who these characters are, and they appear in various forms here and there. So yeah, very, very popular. My daughter in particular, she loves it. She absolutely loves it. So.
I remember you telling me that, and I was quite surprised because it's a very brutal, violent show at times. It's it's pretty intense stuff.
It is, but she's very into it. She and her friends, they are very, very. Although I'm not sure lately, I haven't spoken to her about it. I don't recall any conversations in the household lately about Demon Slayer, but I do know that at least there was a time when her friends really, really intensely into that. So well done. That's a really nice copy, by the way. I don't know. I have my Japanese release here, so
some cool artwork. And that's the stuff I really like, is when they just the slow motion swords and all the elemental kind of like effects and stuff. And I will say the thing about this set, it's very, very nice. It's a booklet there, I think.
Yeah,
it opens up into like a kind of panoramic thing.
Oh,
but the inside's just blank. It's just black.
Okay.
I would have thought that they put something else in there, but yeah, this is really, really nice.
Oh, very nice
set. But it's weird, like the actual show, like the first season, they only sell it in like, they do that over there too, where like they'll do like half of a season in one Blu-ray and then another half in another Blu-ray, so you kind of have to pay twice for it. Do you have that over there with the Blu-ray releases? Or
oh, I don't know. Yeah, we haven't. We only have the film on Blu-ray, so we don't watch them, or we didn't watch them on Blu-ray releases. So I don't know how the Blu-ray or the physical media setup is for the series. So, but they have them. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have those details, unfortunately. But I know sometimes they do break them up, like series. Generally, sometimes they do that. You don't. Sometimes you get the complete series, but other times you get not the complete version. So.
I mean, it's like up to £50 for like half a season, and it's just a bit too pricey.
Well, that's very expensive. That's very expensive. Yeah, and you expect you get something more complete if you with a price tag like that. But, oh wow,
that's been a recent frustration for me, because all the anime in the UK is releasing Future Boy Conan in 4K. Which is like I've been waiting for that series to have like a Blu-ray release for so long. I love it so much, but they're releasing it in parts. So you buy the first 13 episodes for £60, and then the next episodes for £60. It's just like £120 for one season of a show. It's like, I love it, but do I love it that much? It's a shame, I think, and I can only assume it's the licensing costs that's driving them to do that.
It does remind me too, back in the day, where VHS tapes, sometimes they'd be very, very expensive for just a very limited amount of material. But, well, that's great.
Yeah, and then
not great. Not the pricing. The pricing's not great.
no,
Just your general, yeah, your general watching these titles. That's really great.
yeah. There's one character.
The pricing's not so good.
No.
I wish the pricing could be improved. That's
Yeah.
quite terrible, actually. Yeah,
I mean,
but I guess you say it can't be helped, perhaps, but still,
yeah.
from the consumer side of things, yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to own the show, but it is what it is. And then the one other thing I could talk about is the Celine Sciamma trilogy from Plain Archive.
Oh, cool! Wow, cool.
So I'd not seen 2 of these films, and I think we talked about Portrait of a Lady on Fire before and how much I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I really wanted to see her earlier films, and incredible, all of them. I love them. So she's probably one of my favorite directors now, purely because every film of hers I think is fantastic. So have you seen all of them, or just a few?
No, not all. I've my exposure to this great world is still ongoing. But so for instance, I don't have the set that you've very kindly showed here. So that looks like another. I don't know. I hope that's not now like a limited run or anything like that.
It is, but I'm not sure if it's been as popular. I can find out for you, but it's a Plain Archive Korean release, and it's the first time that her debut film has been available on Blu-ray, which is good. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, that was when they announced that it was an instant pre-order for me because I was such a big fan of her most recent films. Yeah, I can't actually find it on there. It might not be there.
Okay. Knowing Plain Archive, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it is sold out, unfortunately. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, it's a very nice set. And yeah, three great films. And I also recently picked up, and I haven't been buying Blu-rays really anywhere near as much as I used to, but I got her most recent film, Petite Maman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
cool.
I have the whole filmography now.
How is that? I haven't seen this one.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Oh my God.
Okay.
It's just, I can't even speak. It's that great. Like, and it's frustrating because they did. I don't know if you saw my video about 3, 4, 5 months ago. In the UK, they do this thing called, I forget what, Unseen or something. It's like basically where you go to the cinema and you don't know what you're going to see. So they, you pay for your ticket, and it might be a new release that's about to come out. And it was this film, Petite Maman. And across the country, people were walking out as soon as they saw it was a French film. As soon as the subtitles started, and this wasn't unique to one place. There was just people saying, I'm not watching a foreign film. They were hoping for Ghostbusters or something. And I was so mad. I know I shouldn't be, but I was just like the film's like an hour and 10 minutes long as well. It's so short. Like they couldn't even give it, half an hour. But yeah, that was a frustrating thing. But yeah, the film itself, I wouldn't even want to say anything about it because it's best experienced, I think. I would really hope the Criterion grabs it because that would really fit in nicely with the collection, I think.
You mentioned here about this idea of going to a movie theater and not knowing what you're watching until it actually starts. That's a very intriguing idea.
Yeah, I think
I've never heard of this before.
I think it is specific to movies that are about to come out. So it's like not a complete free-for-all, at least with that particular cinema chain. So
okay, interesting.
So I think maybe people were just expecting a big, English language film as opposed to this. But yeah.
Okay.
But it's
that's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Yeah,
but that film, she just has a way that I love. It's kind of like a quietness, subtlety, you've seen Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It's that kind of feel to it. I mean, it's very different, but at the same time, she just has this sensibility that I think really draws me into her films, and I get a lot out of it. But yeah, otherwise, it hasn't been that much. What have you been watching lately?
Oh, thank for me. So, nothing. Recent releases, nothing. I think the last recent release that I saw in the movie theater Uh, wasn't I've been meaning to watch some recent releases, but just been time. For instance, I wanted to go see Top Gun, but I haven't been able to see it yet. So
We're gonna go see that next week.
oh, cool,
It's
cool.
very rare that we go to the cinema now, but we're gonna try and make an exception for that.
Yeah, that looks like a very, very, very exciting movies, but I haven't been able to see it yet. And then as far as other things go, I think I've been just maybe a lot of rewatches. Let's see. Oh yes, I was very much excited for the Sergio Leone releases from Kino, the 4K releases of say where there's Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and then recently Fistful of Dollars, and for a few dollars more. So I was very excited to see those. Any excuse to watch a Sergio Leone film, and I'm there. So a very, very exciting time, and I was watching the film. It wasn't that it wasn't those films per se. It was the film. It's given the title under the release, A Fistful of Dynamite, and I was watching it in the room, and then my son came in at a moment when they were there's a piece of the soundtrack, the song, the musical score, the Morricone score, and it's kind of a famous bit of the film in the score, because Ennio Morricone's score and Sergio Leone's work, they kind of go hand in hand. But in particular, Fistful of Dynamite, there's a little bit where the score goes Sean, 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 and then my son came in just at this moment where the musical accompaniment was going Sean, 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 and then sometime later we were just, I don't know, in the room eating or something, and my son just randomly sang in the room Sean, Sean, Sean. So I count that as a personal victory, that I was able to have my little boy sing a little bit of an Ennio Morricone musical piece from A Fistful of Dynamite. So yes, that's one point in the dad category, I would say. So yes. So that was a very yes. So Sergio Leone films and the recent releases. So those have been a really nice opportunity to revisit those wonderful works. Yeah.
It's always nice when a family member sees something with you and it's maybe not the mainstream, and they kind of pick up on something. I remember I was watching Dr. Mabuse, the Gambler, Fritz Lang's silent film. This is years ago, and there's this really random line in it that I found quite funny, and Connie was just sat next to me while it was going on. And then maybe a few days later we're in the shop and she quotes this line, and I just posted on Facebook, my fiance just quoted a 1920s German silent film, one of the many reasons I love her. Which is a very pleasing thing for her to just randomly quote such an obscure film, relatively speaking. But as a parent, I'm sure there's some pride involved there as well, and getting to kind of share those moments and making those movie memories.
Yeah, I mean, my son didn't see the entirety of the film.
Yeah, but it's
just he just walked in. Yeah,
it's a moment.
Yeah. So a little, and also yes, a similar thing happened. I was just putting on the opening credits of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I have already been able to bestow upon him the theme song of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I'm glad to say that yes, I've introduced him to the world of Ennio Morricone music. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen that film and those films in 10 years now. It's been about a decade. But I have the 4K of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, so I'm just kind of sitting on that for the right moment to unleash it and experience it in all its glory. I still think that whole final scene, the standoff, is one of the best examples of film editing ever. It's just such a unbelievably well edited sequence with the music and the staging and the, cutting to the eyes and the hands and the, the shifting of this. Just, it's incredible. The timing, the rhythm, like that music is so integral to it. I mean, obviously it's preceded by The Ecstasy of Gold, which for me is one of the greatest pieces of music I've ever heard. But then you have the music with the standoff, and it's just, that film is cinema.
Yeah. It's well said. Yeah. So but
so speaking of new releases, actually, I think you may have done a video on it. I'm not sure. And again, I'm sorry, it's hard to keep up sometimes, but you've seen No Time to Die, right? What did you think?
Oh, the James Bond film No Time to Die. Oh yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
It's, oh gosh, it's like
really? Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one for me. Okay. Yeah. How about yourself? You asked the question.
Oh, I loved it.
I wonder.
I loved it. I mean, it's nice to see that you a little bit, because usually you're so very positive about films, so it's intriguing when you're not quite on board. But I liked how, for me, it was just different than any other James Bond film by the plot that was introduced and how it ended, because that's something we've never seen before. That alone, I thought was worth the kind of price of admission, so to speak. Didn't get to see it in the cinema, unfortunately. Watched it at home, but I loved it. So what were your issues?
I think the thing for me was and I think this is kind of true for some of the other films as well, which is I struggle with how the film treats, maybe not treats is the right word, how the film tries to incorporate the legacy of the cinematic legacy of James Bond.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned what it does, and you said there were things that were done that maybe we hadn't seen before. So those are like, I thought, wow, this is very interesting, very intriguing. So, and how it goes from a kind of beginning, middle, and then its ending. I thought this was all very intriguing stuff. And that's totally fair game, I think, in terms, because this is a work of cinema, and this is storytelling. So that's part of the storytelling aspect. So I think that was very intriguing indeed. But so I'm not referring to those points specifically, because you can also find certain antecedents, one can argue, in the world of James Bond, both cinema and literature. So, but what I found very difficult, and I'm still struggling with it, is it seems like the film is trying, in my view, it's trying to shed the cinematic legacy, while at the same time trying to incorporate the cinematic legacy. And I mentioned, I mean, I don't want to go into too much specifics, but I think the main example is the main way, the reason why I think of this is how the film tries to, in my view, position itself vis-a-vis an earlier film in the James Bond cinematic series, which is called On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I see. Okay.
So this is the point of difficulty for me.
Yeah. Okay.
How it tries to position. Yeah. So, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but so it's not a wholly negative experience for me. But that film, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, is a very, very powerful and such an important film for me growing up, and I have such fond memories of it, as I know many other people do.
Yeah.
And so I find it's a little bit, I can still watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service now and then enjoy that film. But when I see No Time to Die, I'm reminded of this, and I can't quite ignore it. And so that's where I am. Again, I'm trying to be as general here as possible.
I think anyone who's seen the film knows the points we're both making. So yeah. But yeah, that's interesting.
But I think, it's another thing too, which is I remember seeing Casino Royale and I loved it immediately. And I remember seeing Quantum of Solace, and I didn't like it at first, but then I really grew to like and now love the film. I think it's really, really great. Spectre or Skyfall, I had a similar experience where I wasn't quite on board with it at first, and I gradually came to become more engaged with it. And then Spectre was a similar thing, although I must say for me, Spectre was a film where I wasn't quite on board with Spectre until No Time to Die. When I saw No Time to Die, it made me appreciate Spectre a lot more. There are some interesting kind of connective tissue between those works. So
that's one of the main things I like about the Craig movies, is that you feel a continuum, quite maybe more than any of the other Bonds, I feel. And so when you carry over characters and villains or actors who play these characters, that's the stuff I kind of enjoyed the most, I think, was it. Yeah.
Interesting. Although, right, there's an interesting way of continuity, even from the earlier works, like Dr. No from Russia with Love and Goldfinger. It's right when at the beginning of Goldfinger, when he says to Felix Leiter, they got pretty close to you in Jamaica, didn't they, Felix? So there's that sort of thing. But sorry, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So interesting. Yes, No Time to. Do you have that on? How did you see that? Do you have that on? You said you didn't see it in the theater.
We rented it on I forget what service it was. It was on just the TV. Yeah. But I mean, I definitely want to own it at some point. I think I have the big Bond 50 set, which is very nice, but I don't think I have Spectre or the most recent one.
Oh, okay. So then, so that's the Bond 50 set, but then there were some Blu-ray sets that came after that, and I'm sure they're going to release something else in a year.
I like the continuity, because I think with the Bond 50 set, it came out before, I think it was when Skyfall came out in the cinema, and they left an empty slot at the end for Skyfall. So I like that it's this 50-year, that's nice, at least. But obviously, I'm intrigued to see what they do next. Like, I'd like to see them go a bit campier again, like a bit more, like, a bit more fun. But I'm just intrigued because it's a fun series that keeps reinventing itself. I like that.
Oh, sure. Yes. What's your favorite James Bond film? By the way,
it's so hard. It's easier to ask what's your favorite of each, I think. But
okay, so let me rephrase. What's your favorite of each?
I think Goldfinger is probably the Connery gold standard, no pun intended. Obviously, on Her Majesty's Secret Service in general is way up there for me. I love that film, very, very high. Roger Moore, Spy Who Loved Me, I think, yeah, for sure. I haven't really seen them as much, the Dalton ones, but I think from memory, I much preferred License to Kill. And GoldenEye, I think, is easily my favorite Brosnan. Casino Royale for Craig, I think. Yeah, it's hard because they're all so different. And but then it's like, okay, if you could only watch one, what would it be? It's tricky, because like Roger Moore was the first one I gravitated towards as a kid. Then Brosnan, I grew up with Brosnan, so there's like a little bit of nostalgia there, but not as much, I think. So I don't know. It's tricky. Do you have an out-and-out favorite? Can you name the one?
Oh, yes. A View to a Kill. A View to a Kill. That's my favorite Bond film.
Really? That's your favorite?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, because it's got Christopher Walken and Grace Jones and Roger Moore and Tanya Roberts as Stacey Sutton. There's a great bit in the film where she's driving home from work and she's listening to the radio and eating potato chips. Just that, I love little moments like that in there. And Christopher Walken with that wonderful performance. Yeah, have you seen the film, right? Of View to a Kill? I hope I'm not okay. Yeah. So
yeah, I've seen all of them, and I grew up
yeah.
with James Bond. It was
I,
really
yeah,
only, it was really only the
but
Dalton films that I didn't grow up with. Those are the only
okay.
the two that I watched as I was as an adult later on. But otherwise, I grew up with all the other ones. So yeah,
Oh, great. Yeah,
and I
that
loved
was that. Yeah, that's a great one. The 80s and oh
it
wow.
is, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's the silliness maybe wouldn't have put it at the top of your list. But I love it. It's What a View to a Kill.
Oh
You know,
yes, yes.
it's just like
Yes, and the great those great sunglasses that Mayday wears, and you know, um, I want no part of this dastardly villainous scheme, Zorn. I want to get out of here. Okay, why don't you just go out and Mayday will serve you a drink? Oh, okay, yeah. You want me to go out? Oh, sure. Ah, yeah, that's great, great, and you know the horse riding bits and they're on to Bond and Bond's like, oh well, what's the name of the horse I'm going to be riding? Inferno. Oh, you know, so they picked the, you know, so it wasn't like oh, what's the name of the horse that I'm going to be riding today? Oh, it's, you know, I don't know, tulips and the cotton candy or something like that. Oh, it's Inferno. So that's great. And it becomes this dangerous scene with him and the horse riders and fighting and everything like that. And Zoran presses buttons so with such villainous glee. It's wonderful. You know, oh gosh, I've got to win my race. Oh, so it's great. And so he's, yeah, Zoran, a villain for the. So I love A View to a Kill. I absolutely love A View to a Kill. It's got a lot of various moving parts that I think it miraculously come together. Every time I see it, I love it even more.
I haven't seen it in a long time, to be fair. It's been a while. But when I went to Paris as a kid, the first thing I saw when I walked underneath the Eiffel Tower was View to a Kill. That's the first thing that jumped into my mind.
That's awesome. Yes, what a great way to write. How shall we? You know, there's this person that is really bugging me. Mayday, how should we take care of this person? Do you have some kind of plan to handle this particular, say, detective? Maybe some kind of hidden, you know, kidnapping or something. No, I have an idea. Let's use a poisonous fake butterfly with a fishing rod. Oh, that's a very intriguing, Mayday. Yes, maybe we can use a fishing rod in front of a whole group of people in a restaurant in broad daylight, and with a little bit of poison on the tip, and we just fling it around, and we can hopefully hit the guy. And what about that? Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. Do you think we'll get caught? No, I don't think so. I think we can get away with it without being noticed. I just have to jump off the Eiffel Tower. I just need someone to be, you know, that's a great idea. I'll stand by with my speedboat. That's a good idea. Do you think you can land just where I have my speedboat? Yeah, I think so. I think I can plan that out, Mr. Zorn. Not a problem. Oh, great. Give me a high five. I love that. That's great. I'm totally yes. Yeah. Sorry for anyone who hasn't seen A View to a Kill yet. You're in for a real treat. I love that film.
I think they need to repress every Blu-ray of every James Bond film ever made with your running commentary in the corner of the thought process of the villains and all their plans and schemes. Your interpretation of like that conversation.
That's great. You mentioned too the bit. There's always a bit too when he jumps through. I'm sorry, I'm totally spoiling A View to a Kill for your viewers. I apologize, but I can't help it. It's in my nature. But anyway, there's one or the bit where James Bond is chasing the villain through the streets of Paris in the car, and he finds the lands on a ferry with the wedding party going on, and there's a wedding cake, and there's a bit where they're playing the wedding version, the wedding kind of jazzy version of A View to a Kill, and you see people dancing inside, and there's a kind of elderly lady who's kind of swinging her arms like this and just dancing. I always gravitate because he's in the center of the frame.
Right.
And just right a split second, I always remember that kind of elderly lady dancing to the jazzy wedding orchestra version of A View to a Kill just before James Bond just destroys that cake. Oh gosh, I wonder how I hope that cake, at the very least, maybe the cake wasn't as delicious as it looked. So maybe that could ease the hearts of the many people at the wedding party who were, I'm sure, brokenhearted at the broken. I mean, can you imagine if you're at a wedding, your own wedding, and could you imagine if you're about to cut through the wedding cake, and then suddenly some guy just comes through the ceiling and just lands in the wedding cake? How would you feel? How would you? I would be pretty upset. I would be very upset about that. But they're kind of like, oh, there's like, oh, and he's like, oh, congratulations, and when he gives them like this huge clump of cake that he kind of sat on. Here he goes. That's great. And then you have at the end, you see a little bit of like the chefs, I think, like hauling him away. They have like knives or something. They haul him away. So, and then he gets arrested by the authorities. But then I'm sorry, I'm going too much into detail in A View to a Kills. See, I love that film.
Well, that's the thing. It's viewed as one of the sillier entries in the franchise. And so when you said that was your favorite, I thought you were joking initially, but you've more than proved in the past 5 minutes that it's definitely your favorite, because the enthusiasm there is fantastic. And I love his movies, the Roger Moore ones. There's so much fun to be had in those. And he's the most charming Bond, I think. That's my kind of takeaway, you know.
Yes. And there's a thing about Roger Moore Bond's films where he has each Bond film or each Bond performer has their own take, of course, and their own little sort of quirk or idiosyncratic moment. And for Roger Moore, there are so many wonderful ones, but the one that I always love is his ooh, that sound ooh. Whenever there's something that happens, some kind of the Roger Moore ooh, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And there's one particular moment in A View to a Kill where you get the Roger Moore ooh at a very important moment, and it couldn't have been more perfect in my view. Oh my goodness, the Roger Moore era and the ooh, I love it. Roger Moore, gosh, you mentioned Spy Who Loved Me. Nobody does it better. Wow, that's great. Roger Moore, I grew up in the 80s, so Roger Moore, I was in the John Glenn era, but Roger Moore and then Timothy Dalton. You say you didn't necessarily watch as many of the Timothy Dalton run, but you mentioned License to Kill. That's a great one. He's just so like, and then The Living Daylights too. He's just like, I just gotta. Oh God! The windshield of this truck. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get the truck.
Much different take, isn't it?
Yeah. Just gotta go and everyone's like, oh, wait, this guy's just not gonna stop. You know, how are we gonna do it? Oh, let's. I have an idea. Let's stop. How are we gonna stop this guy? He's gonna chase us. Okay. Let's stop. Do you have a rocket launcher? Oh yeah, here I have here. Let's have a rocket launcher. He can't definitely. He can not evade this rocket launcher. Okay, here we go. Oh, let's fire the rocket launcher. Shoot. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just oh, it's great. Yeah, just handle it like that, like a pro, like an absolute pro. James Bond's a pro. Yeah, you know, even right. Oh, great. No one can stop him. No one can stop him. He's an unstoppable force. You can't, not even Benicio del Toro. You can't stop him. You can't stop him with like this. You know, he's in the bar and they're fighting with that giant, like whatever is it, that swordfish thing, you know, or something like that. You can't stop him there. Yeah. And he's just unstoppable. Fantastic stuff. Yeah. There's also a bit. There's also a bit where they're fantastic. There's also a bit where it's like, I don't want to get into too much. I guess I'm already going into too much detail with this. A bit in License to Kill where it's like, I don't want to, you know, it's like, oh, it's not my mutton.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that was a big deal when I was a kid. I saw it in the theater as a kid. What is it, 89 or something? Oh my goodness, I was just like, shaking. Mom, what happened? What did I just see? And said, don't think about it. Don't think about it. So, yeah. So, but yeah. And with now Blu-rays and stuff, you can get a little bit more of the detail that you didn't necessarily see. At least I didn't see with the U.S. release. So, anyway, I'm sorry. The License to Kill. License to Kill. That's another great one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know if James Bond is brought up, then you've got a lot to go on with, because your Bond streams were legendary in length and detail, and the ones I've managed to tune into have been fantastic. Have you done all of them? Have you finished the talking about each of them?
Yeah. That was a great project. So yeah, thank you very much for mentioning that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, we ended up, and the last one that we did was we covered up to No Time to Die. So and so yeah, it was kind of a random order. So that was indeed a lot of fun indeed. Yeah. GoldenEye. What did you talk about with GoldenEye? I guess we spoke about another thing. I don't remember offhand, but I think one of the things you mentioned, Pierce Brosnan, and he was maybe your Bond, or you grew up and you really were attached with him. The running, Pierce Brosnan's running. You have the great way that he uses his fists. He's not just running, when people, just not running. He's just really like running. I gotta run down this thing and fight Sean Bean. The
one thing that jumps out at me, GoldenEye, when I was a kid, was the scene in the bathhouse or whatever, where she wraps her legs around him, and it's like this. I guess it's her move. It's like she just squeezes the life out of him, and so he is flailing around, slamming her into the wall. And my mum was like, "Luke, this isn't what sex is supposed to be." Because I was a young kid at the time, and she was like worried that maybe I thought that was what a man and a woman did, because it's quite suggestive in the way that she's like, wrapping her legs around him, and she's just had to kind of make sure that I knew that was not what was going on.
That's right. That it could leave quite an impression. Yes. Exactly. It's quite an impressionable scene. That's for sure. Yes. In many ways, one of which you described here. Also, yes, that's a great example of the Pierce Brosnan the chin acting, because he's in pain. Yes, this is also very important. Yeah, and he's like, when he's in a lot of pain or struggling, I can't do it. It's great. That's one of the great Pierce Brosnan. I love his films. Oh gosh, they're so what the chin acting and the way he walks and moves. It's really quite, and he just smiles. There's a bit where he's what is it? Tomorrow Never Dies. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got carried away.
So sorry about that. The zoo. Yes, it was Daisuke's exuberant enthusiasm that crashed the call. No, I don't have
Zoom. You've done it again. Zoom. Can one not win against your mighty power, Zoom? My goodness. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
sorry about that. Yes. No, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Yes. You were saying about.
No, I mean, it's great. We got your Connery impression. We got your Pierce Brosnan chin impression. So it's almost the full set. Just the Tom Waits one left.
No. Yes. That's a really I need water for the yes, because that and Christopher Lloyd and Tom Waits, that really does a number on the throat, because it's very it uses a lot of power to it.
The one Christopher Lloyd thing that I still quote to this day is a film called The Dream Team. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Right.
I love it.
So I haven't seen it in like over a decade, but
The Dream Team.
It really jumped out at me and Connie. It's when his character notices a bit of trash on the floor, and he has to pick it up, and he goes, "Oh my god!" He has to come back. So even now, years later, we'll just randomly to each other be like, "Oh my god!" just to pick something up off the floor, whatever.
That's great.
Idiosyncrasies of his performances in many films.
Yeah, and right, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and of course, right, Back to the Future, right? I can't do it. I mean, right, Marty. Or my favorite one is my favorite one is Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock.
I haven't seen that since I was a
Oh,
young kid. It's almost
that's
like
a
I've never
great one.
seen it. It's that. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
that long.
that's a great one. That's a great one. Oh gosh, I have to do it. There's a bit. It's not. I hope there's a bit where he says he's using a communicator, and he says to a character, he says, "Maltz, choi chu." Ah, I love that. That's great. Yeah, yeah. Anyone who's a Star Trek, if you know Star Trek and Star Trek 3, yeah, hopefully that you know that moment. That's a very yeah.
Well,
Drop all weapons. Yeah.
the story goes with at least from the filming of Back to the Future, is that he's a very like shy, reserved guy, and when they would like rehearse scenes with Back to the Future, he's kind of like, well, Marty, you know, so and they're like, what's going on? Like, but then once like the action hits, then he just gets in that zone, and it's this performance. But he, you know, he's an all or nothing kind of guy when it comes to performing. Apparently, from what I've heard. I met him.
Amazing.
I met him once, and he was very nice.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. It was a nice thing. It was like he was meeting all these people to take these pictures, and some of them were in the queue in front of me, going, "Yeah, I'm meeting the scientist guy from Back to the Future or something." Like they didn't even know really. They were just meeting him to say that they've met someone famous, you know, and they're lining up and they're taking pictures, and he's not really smiling and whatever. But I came up to him and I was like, "It's nice to meet you," you know, just simple, respectful. And we got a really nice picture together. He smiled, and it just felt like a kind of, you know, I feel like I'm a similar kind of person, quite reserved at times and stuff. And I think he appreciated the chill, like nature of my, you know, hello, nice to meet you. You know, I'm not going to gush or anything, but you know,
Yeah,
big fan and whatever. Yeah, he was very
that's
nice.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Back to the Future was big for me as a kid. I loved those films, and was a huge part of that.
Oh yes, yes. Oh, definitely, definitely. You know the. I can't do it. I can't do it. But you know, to this day, whenever there's like no one gets the reference, but every once in a while, I'll be maybe with some friends or just talking in the house or something, and then something will come up that's kind of funny, but I'll kind of I won't do the laugh. I'll do the Crispin Glover like. No one gets the reference. Yeah, no one gets the reference, but it's in my heart. I know it's this is Back to the Future. Yeah,
brilliant.
Gosh, yes. So gosh, yes, Crispin Glover. Yes, I was watching. I've been on a David Lynch kick as well, so I was rewatching Wild at Heart as well. Yes, yes. I'm making my lunch. Yes, so. Gosh,
that's something we need to do a David Lynch discussion, Gush Fest, because I'd love to talk about his films with you, because that's a big one. And you mentioned to me privately a while ago that you were going to do some David Lynch things, and I don't think you did them, did you? So was there did it pan out, or was there a story there? Or
there may be something. You know, let me just
Okay.
So so how should I put it? There's yes. Yes, there will be something. So there will be like I'm not going to end my channel anytime soon. I hope it doesn't end anytime soon. But there are many things. There are many things that I always hope to do on the channel, and one of them is just going through the works of David Lynch. Now, the only thing that was stopping me was how to handle Twin Peaks. Because I can't talk about Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me without speaking about Twin Peaks, and then what comes before, and kind of before and I guess I should use the word before, what comes before and after, and in at the same time. Okay, but and then in terms of the release chronology anyway. So that was the only thing, one of the things that was I couldn't get my head around, which is how do I handle Twin Peaks? And then so it's just a matter now of it's I was just watching. The reason why I was rewatching Wild at Heart is actually one of the reasons was for that purpose. So it'll be interesting to get back in that. So yes, Eraserhead, and so we're talking about Eraserhead. There was a video that I did on discussing Eraserhead, but I haven't published it yet. But it's maybe I was thinking of redoing it, but it was an interesting. But I was just going off and off about like, I don't know, like it's just about how there was a period in my life when I was young. I wanted to have. I was trying my best to comb my hair up.
Really?
I could never do it because the way that my hair is, I couldn't do it. And I was younger, and so I'm much older now, and so my hair is thinner than it was when I was younger. So I had a thicker head of hair when I was younger, and I thought I could do it, but it just never panned out. And I was so very much into trying to get my hair fluffed up in that way, and trying to go back and forth in terms of how do I really feel about The Lady in the Radiator, and how do I feel about like eating meals with other people, and how do I feel about I don't know, like the environment around. So it just went off in this really just odd tangent. So I don't think I'll publish it, but I maybe just try to talk about it some more in a more kind of focused way. But yes, sorry about that. That's my own way of saying, it will happen. It's just a matter
it's coming. Okay.
I was trying to think about maybe because it's in the air about any potential releases from Criterion of Lost Highway, maybe, or Inland Empire, maybe. So maybe I was thinking of tying it together with those releases. So gosh, if Lost Highway, and I think the 4K restoration is now on tour through. I saw, I think, on Twitter or Instagram or something. So, and then Inland Empire has been, I think it's been more or less confirmed. It's just a matter of the official release announcement, I suppose. But that's a big deal as well. So maybe tying into those releases, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the last feature film of Lynch's I haven't seen is Inland Empire. So that's the last one.
Oh, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. Wow. I saw that in the theater. Many times. Wow. Yeah. Yes.
I recently
throw away the key.
I recently went to the extras on Eraserhead, the Criterion. I watched all the short films, and I was really struck with Premonitions Following an Evil Deed, I think it's called. It's like a minute long. It was part of this larger project where these filmmakers used an old camera from like the silent era and couldn't use cuts, just like a 1 minute of, and I watched it like 4 or 5. It was just mesmerizing to me. It was very arresting. And then I think The Grandmother is another one. I think that's the title of it. That is a fascinating film. And I'd heard about the making of it, and I listened to the audiobook of his kind of memoir, Room to Dream. I don't know if you've read that or.
Yes.
Yeah. So I listened to the audiobook version. So I know a lot about the making of that film and how it was in his house and stuff. And it's very surreal. I think I kind of prefer The Grandmother to Eraserhead in terms of that kind of film. Maybe I'd have to go back to it. It was really strange and eerie, and But,
interesting.
But yeah,
interesting.
Right, big fan.
Do you want to see my? Or this is I will never do this ever again. Do you want to see my Eraserhead impression? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about this. So please, I apologize to you and your viewers. So please don't hold it against me. Okay. Here we go. Sorry. So okay. So sorry about that. Yeah. So I should no superimposition, unfortunately. So I'm very, very terrible. So sorry about that. But anyway,
it's a cross between Eraserhead and Major Briggs's Floating Head in The Return.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, yes. There are many links between the works that you mentioned. So yes, well done, well spotted, brilliant as always, my friend.
A funny Lynchian anecdote for me is when my dad got this car and he kind of painted it matte black, and then he had leopard skin car seats on the car seats, and he would always tell people like, why have you got the, what's all this? And he would say, it's a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom. He would say this straight faced, right? So I grew up with this stupid line that he would always say. And then I watched Wild at Heart a few years ago, and I'm like, that's where it's from. I had to call him straight away. I was like, that's where you got it from. And he's like, yeah, of course. And he actually made his own snakeskin jacket based on that film. Honestly, this was about 25 years ago. He ordered these like snakeskins from Africa, I think. And they kept cutting these big rolls, and he's like, I'm making my own snakeskin. And he made this suit jacket. It was all based on Wild at Heart. So.
Fantastic.
He was quite the fan of that film, for sure.
Power Mad. Yes, fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, that's what a great film. What a great film that is. But anyway, I'm sorry. I have to.
Absolutely, yeah. It's fine. It was cool just to catch up with you and talk some films, and hopefully we can do it again in less than 2 years next time. But I mean,
yeah, or less. Yes, I'll see you again in 25 years. Hopefully not that long. Yeah, let's say less than 25 years. Well, I promise. Let's make a promise now. It's not going to be as long as 25 years.
Okay, that'd be nice. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, whether it's my channel or your channel, I'd love to talk some Lynch with you at some point. That would be really
definitely
cool. I mean, even just Twin Peaks on its own, there's so much to talk about. But yeah. Anyway, so thanks for making the time for a little chat. And
Luke, thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. That was very kind of
course,
you. I enjoyed this. So fun to talk with you. You're what a great time I had. Oh, so fun.
This is my birthday weekend, and so I thought I want to do like cool stuff, and getting to talk to you is always cool. So it's been a highlight of my weekend. So I'll speak to you soon. Take care, and we'll do it again sometime.
Cheers, my friend.